Guys, happy Wednesday. Chatty Cathy here. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. Another episode of things that aren't good for us. Is this one the enemy? We have no idea. We're going to talk about today people's most favorite taste sensation. Did you watch my podcast on sugar? Have you watched my podcast on high fructose corn syrup? Our enemy for the last 2 weeks? Well, this is a different one. Our favorite taste sensation, sugar. But today we're going to talk about the fake sugars. So stay tuned and we'll talk soon. I hope everybody's doing great. I hope everybody's doing wonderful and learning things and changing their input and being healthier. Comment below and let me know how great you're doing now. Okay? Today we're going to talk about fake sugars, the fake sugars that are made in a lab. And some practitioners are actually telling their diabetic patients that fake sugars are good for you. That sugar sensitive people, it's okay and safe to eat and drink sugars made in a lab. First of all, it's made in a lab. What? Your brain and your microbiome have no idea that it's a fake sugar. All they do is get the sensation and the flavor of sweetness, right? They have no idea. They have no idea. These sugars are made in a lab and they're called NNS, non-nutritive sweeteners, right? Sugar, everybody knows is not good for you, right? Too much or too little, there's a moderation that we're supposed to have. But nobody does that. Why? Because Mom, it tastes so good. Like I've said in my last 2 podcasts, there's so many other names for sugar. First of all, to confuse you. And the other one is so they can just keep adding it legally to our foods. Because what they usually talk about in our labels is actually sugar, sucrose, right? The white sugar, the white refined sugar, right? And all they do is just change the ingredient just a little bit. And they're able to keep it in our foods. And they're saying that we're getting better, right? But we as a people and as parents are actually getting smarter. And because of people like me, big mouths and smart asses, we're teaching you how to read labels. We're teaching you about the stuff that's in our foods. Why? Because I don't want anybody to be sick anymore. I did emergency medicine for 35 years and my babies were getting sicker and sicker. Why? Because of what we're eating. Listen to my podcast coming soon on how to read those labels. There's so many negative side effects of eating sugar. There's so many negative side effects of eating fake sugars, right? Once you start eating either one of them, you just want to keep on eating. It's hard to stop. But let me tell you, once you do stop, when you do taste that food again, you're going to not like it at all, right? If you continue to eat these foods every single day with every single meal, your healthy foods aren't going to taste good anymore, right? Because they're making us and making our taste buds want something sweet, even in stuff that shouldn't even be sweet. And if it's sweet, you know what? We want it sweeter. You know how much sugar and stuff that you're actually putting in your food and you didn't even know? In 2018, sugar was a $7.2 billion industry. That's 2018. What do you think it is now? Comment below. Comment below. 20 years ago, they knew food. Calm down, Kathy. 20 years ago, they knew that food with sugar in it, whether it's high contents of sugar or just a little bit all the time, whether it's natural or whether it's man-made, causes a lot of problems. So it doesn't matter, right? Whether it's regular sugar or whether it's man-made in a lab, it's not good for us. It's going to cause us problems. And over the last 10 years or so, it's been affecting our children. Saccharine was the first artificial sweetener, and it's been available since 1879. I've read places where it's 200 to 500 times sweeter, the refined sugars. I read one place where it's almost 700 times sweeter than refined sugar, right? Aspartame was made in the 1970s. And that's actually when big food companies and the FDA and the government started talking about sugar, how great it was and how great it is. And it does all this wonderful stuff for us. And let's put it in all our food now, right? And now we have all these refined sugars made in a lab. And I don't even know if we should call them sugar. Who knows what we should call them? Definitely not sugar. Sugar is made from beets and it's made from cane. Nothing else. If it's made in a lab, let's figure out a different word for it. Put it down there. Put it down in the comments. What do you think those sugars should be called? You know what? And they're claiming that there's nothing wrong with them. It's not going to hurt you. Sugar and fake sugars are one of the leading causes of diseases, illness, and of aging, right? What do I teach? Anti-aging. Get rid of the sugars. You don't need them. Food companies are required to list everything on their labels. But sugar and fake sugars are hidden in plain sight at the bottom of the nutrition labels. Why? Because we just don't know what those words are. I'm here. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you where to look. I'm going to show you what to read, right? On some of the labels, the sugar is actually marked with a star because there's not enough to claim that there's any sugar in there. But read the bottom of the label. They have to put something in there to make you and your children want it. These are the words that we can't pronounce. These are the words that are like, what? No, they said there's no sugar, so I'm going to believe them. A lot of our processed foods and our foods have both regular sugar and fake sugars in them, right? Most of the artificial sugars actually trick your brain into thinking that you've just consumed regular sugar. And then your pancreas releases the insulin because your sugar's going up so much, which also uses the glucose up in your blood, but then it makes your liver have to make more sugar because you're using it so fast. And then all of a sudden your sugar falls and your energy goes down and you're like, whew, what am I supposed to do? Oh yeah, eat again. Okay, I can do this. It's a cycle. So how much sugar does the average person consume? Watch my sugar lecture. 130 pounds a year? That was the highest one I found. One person, 130 pounds a year. Or even 57 pounds a year for some people. That's 5,245 teaspoons. That's 25,854 grams. 4 grams equal about 1 teaspoon of sugar, right? Women should have about 6 teaspoons. Men can have 9, right? Children under the age of 2 should not have any sugar at all. None. I hate when I see a little kid drinking out of the Coke can. Oh my goodness. It gives you so many extra calories a day and a bigger waistline, right? Your liver can only process so much sugar, especially the high fructose corn syrup and the fake sugars, because they go right to your liver. They are a toxin. They are a poison. That's what your liver is supposed to do. Your fasting blood sugar should be between 70 and 85, definitely less than 100. Regular sugar should be between 70 and 120, maybe 130, 140 right after you eat, but 160 is too high, right? Pretty soon you're going to be on diabetic medications to help your pancreas, and you're going to be on insulin if you don't stop. If you have any sugar problems at 70, I would definitely eat something, even if you don't have sugar problems. If your blood sugar is 70, I would eat a healthy, fatty, no sugar, good protein snack or meal. And I'm not talking fatty. I'm talking good fat, right? And look those up. Or wait for my protein fatty lecture. Just break that cycle. Break it. Your body's going to be pissed off for a little while and you might go through withdrawals, but who gives a crap? You're going to feel better. For your body to use the sugar, it needs to be glucose. Or if it's mixed with fructose, it needs to be more glucose than fructose. Or half and half. It's still not good for you. Like I said before, a lot of the sugar that we get in the fake sugars and the high fructose corn syrup is from the sodas that we drink, and the coffee, and the energy drinks, and the powdered drinks. Like I said before, read your tube feedings for your family. If they're on a peg tube and they're being fed through a tube, read those. Learn to read those labels. You're going to flip out. The ones that I saw so far are Longevity and Diabetic Source. The second ingredient is high fructose corn syrup. Actually, if you read it down, the second, third, fifth, and sixth ingredient are some kind of sugar. You can't taste that stuff unless you overfeed them and let them burp it up. They're not going to taste it. Why is it in there? They should just have their protein and their water and their nutrients like they're supposed to get. They're trying to be healthy. If your patient or your family member have bed sores or a yeast infection, that's not going to go away very quickly because you're feeding it. If your patient has cancer and you're giving them sugar, it's not going to go away very well. And it might come back because of what you're eating. You're feeding it sugar. You're feeding it sugar. Make sure you check your medications too, your over-the-counter medications, your prescription medications for sugars that they added in there, or natural flavors too, right? Check your dog and cat food for grains. They don't need grains, which gets basically broken up like a sugar, and high fructose corn syrup. Your animals don't need high fructose corn syrup. And how much money do people spend on their animals when they get sick, right? They put the fake sugars and the high fructose corn syrup in there, so they're allowed to say that there's very low sugar or no sugar. Like I said, what they mean is the white sugar, the sucrose. And that's not good for you anyway, right? All sugars work in the brain too, right? And they make you feel bad eventually when your sugar levels go down. They stimulate you to be hungry. And you're definitely going to gain weight. I don't care. Diet sodas are going to make you gain weight. They make you want to eat other food because I'm drinking a Coke Zero and there's no calories and there's no sugar. So I can eat whatever I want for lunch and dinner. No, you can't. It's really, really there. And it's probably even more in the foods that you're eating too, that your microbiome is actually telling you, this is what we should have for dinner, mommy. This is what we should have for dinner, daddy. Absolutely. It's not always you. It's not always this brain. Because if you can actually sit there and think about it for a little while and read the labels, you might say, hey, let's have something else for dinner, right? Let's be healthy now. Let's stop helping the big food companies by buying all this crap. And if it sits on the shelves and goes bad, they're going to have to do something else. They're going to have to do something else. Don't drink juice. Watch my other lecture on the the sugar content of juices. Make it yourself. You can have any kind of flavor that you want, right? Your children can have juices too, but it's better if you juice it. And it's better if you read the label. Not what it says on the front of the package, what it says on the back and those words at the bottom. Read those. Sugar is 8 times more addicting than cocaine, and it's also compared to heroin too when they do the MRIs. Those little parts of the brain just light up, happy, 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 right? Artificial sweeteners and high fructose corn syrup can be 700 times sweeter than regular sugar. So yes, you can become addicted, and you probably will become addicted. And it's not even of your choice, just like street drugs. It's not your choice. You just want that feeling again of feeling great and being happy, right? That's what you want. Now, these are some artificial sweeteners, and I included the first two because they're artificial too. Our white sugar, our refined sugar, our sucrose is highly inflammatory in the body. It's not good. Raw sugar or brown sugar could be white sugar with molasses in it to make it a brown color. Wheat bread, a lot of it is white bread with molasses, so it looks like wheat, so it looks brown. Not good. Substitutes for sugar, saccharin, like I said, came in the late 19th century. It's sweet tasting. It's a synthetic compound made in a lab. Sweet and low. Saccharine, the pink packet, right? Splenda is actually sucralose, which is in the yellow packet. Equal, NutraSweet, same thing, aspartame. Not good for you. It's an excitotoxin, which means it kills brain cells. It's linked to seizures, it's linked to multiple sclerosis and other problems too. And I just saw new forms of Equal that you can buy in the store. It adds vitamin C to it, it gives you a little bit of zinc, it gives you some B12, some of them have caffeine in it. What? So it's better for you because they're adding those things? Those are in the blue packet. Neotame is a chemical derivative of aspartame. That's another one. Asulfame, ACESULFAME. That's actually found in sodas. It's found in juice. It's found in dairy. It's found in ice cream. You have stevia, which is Truvia and Purevia. It's not really considered an artificial sweetener, but it does have natural flavors too. But it has no nutrients. It's about 300 times sweeter than regular sugar, and you could overdo it too. It doesn't increase your blood sugar levels, but it might make your microbiome want something else. A little bit of stevia goes a long way. Monk fruit is awesome too. I use monk fruit a lot. I use a little bit of stevia, but it's still going to make you crave more food. My friends looked up xylitol and erythritol, right, which are actually sugar alcohols. They're found in many foods. They're also found in toothpaste and mouthwash. They're found in gums. But which one's better for you? So big shout out to Liv and Mikey at Liv's Alternatives. Wonderful place to get products to. Very, very healthy to go shopping there. Yes, a big shout out to them. I had no idea what these were. I didn't really have time to look them up. She goes, I'll do it. And then she sent me an email about what the differences are. So xylitol is found in some fruits, but it's also made in a lab, and it does mess with your digestive system. Some studies say it can possibly stimulate your immune system, but it's still made in a lab. And erythritol is derived from corn. So it's a high fructose corn syrup. And is it a GMO? 88 to 93% of corn is GMO, but it's still made in a lab. Now, this sugar is actually not supposed to raise your blood sugar levels, and it does not upset your GI system. But is it better for you? It's made in a lab. Then you have high fructose corn syrup. Listen to my podcast last week because it deserved its own. What's the best sweetener that I tell you every time? God's sugar is fruit. Eat it at the right time, not when a lab made it, not on a GMO time, right? So you have my GMO podcast, watch my high fructose corn syrup podcast. You had my sugar podcast, which I also named some low sugared fruits and some high sugared fruits. If you're going to have if you're going to have sugar, at least do it with a fruit, because then you get the benefits of fiber also, which actually slows down how fast that sugar gets put in your system and how fast your insulin has to be produced. Like I said, I use mostly honey, blackstrap molasses, monk fruit, stevia a little bit, and real maple syrup. Of course, all organic if I can possibly get it. If I need any kind of sweeteners, right? But these other things actually have some beneficial stuff to it, and it's not made in the lab. Look up all the nutrients that these other things have, that honey has. It's good for you, right? Compared to regular sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and the fake sugars that I just named. Like I said before, at least 3 or 4 times, sugar, they are finding out is one of the most powerful negative aging inputs, right? The negative thing that we can put in our body. Children should not consume long-term non-nutritional sugars, the fake sugars, right? Starting with their whole lives. That also means adults too. And pre-diabetics thinking that they're going to do well with artificial sweeteners and that their sugar consumption versus insulin is going to be okay, they're mistaken, because it still messes up your insulin production. Your body, your brain, your liver, they don't know the difference. They just know that it's sweet and we need to do something about it to get it into our system so we have energy. Otherwise, it's going to end up in your butt as extra sub-Q tissue. Little moderation of sugar is okay. Like I said, 5 to 9 teaspoons. I don't think anybody's getting that. You're getting a lot more. Come on, people. Come on, my friends. Come on, my lovies. You need to take a stand. Don't buy that crap. Turn your packages around. Read it. Let them see you reading it. Let them see you talking to other people and comparing products. That's how I found the best granola bar, right? I spent 30 minutes at the granola bar when my son was younger to put something healthy in his lunchbox. And another lady was standing there, my friend Lisa, absolutely. And I said, what are you buying? She goes, oh no. And then we both kind of stayed there and studied them together. And then we found out which ones were actually good. a little bit better for our children compared to what I actually had in my basket. Turn around, read the labels, get it out there. Excuse me. Tell everybody. Tell your friends. Tell the people you love. Tell the people you don't love. It doesn't matter. We all have to be healthy because it's going to take a lot of people to make a stand and not buy that stuff anymore for big food companies to actually get it, because we're not going to take it anymore. And then that's going to affect the pharmaceutical companies because they're not going to have to make as much medication anymore because we're healthy. And then that's going to affect the government, and that's going to affect insurance companies and our healthcare, right? It's all going to be better. It's all going to be for the better. And yes, we can do it. Yes, we can. I promise. Thank you so much again for listening. And this is another short podcast. Like I said, you guys are like, this is not a long one. Thank you, Kathy. I can actually sit through a whole thing. We can watch them. It might take several times, but you know what? You can finish a whole one. Just make sure you take notes. Get out your little notebook. Take notes. Make your comments below. Please love, learn, and take control and help other people take control. Love, like, subscribe, and share. Please share these podcasts with everybody and subscribe so we can get to more people. There's so many people and I feel like so little time, right? So I didn't cuss and I didn't cry, or maybe I did cuss. I definitely didn't cry this time. Thank you so much again for listening. My name is Chatty Kathy, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.